strategies and ideas on how you can stay out of crazy town. See, your human experience is meant to be lived with meaning, purpose, and creativity. You are here to contribute through your essence. We are best friends, moms, entrepreneurs, and above all, find our flow in assisting you to find yours. We come together weekday mornings to bring you ideas to fall deeper in love with your life and the journey that you are on. Take what works and ditch the rest, and always stay set to love. Thank you for being a part of this community. We're all designed to live in flow. So let's go.
Good morning. So excited to be here with my friend Eva. How are you doing? Doing good?
Doing great.
Yay. Good. Well, I'm so proud of you. You're such a good this morning. We excited because we really loved Alicia's P's in our lessons yesterday. We decided to come up with our own 3 P's to pursuing an idea. So that's what we've decided we're going to talk about, everybody, today. And so we're really excited about that because we just want to give you 3 more ideas to be positive to start your day today. What do you think?
Yes. And I'm just the thought of, like, when you have something that you want to pursue in your life, you have an idea, something's kind of coming up, you know, how do you move forward? Like, how do you actually make that thing happen? And then the everything around that. And so we thought, okay, what are some good P's? Because that was just a fun letter that Alicia had. And I think the first one we came up with was planning, right?
Yes, it's planning. And why, why do we need a plan? Because you need to start somewhere. And so a plan can change, but the first P is planning. And you know that better than anyone, because when you did your board for the Flow Life Funnel book, right?
Yes.
You just started planning.
Board and was like, okay, what is the plan? Like, how is this going to work? And even if something as simple as like being here and with my sister, and they're redoing so many projects in their house, and it's like, we have to have a plan. So as these ideas are coming in, she's like, oh, we need to fix this, and oh, we got to go buy this, and oh, let's make sure we add this. So I said, we need to start writing this down. We need to start writing down everything that we want to do. So we have this ongoing list, and we're like, add it to the list. And then from that list of just a whole bunch of things, we create a plan for the time that we have. So we haven't done it yet today, but we're going to look at what's on the list and then make a plan for what are the things that we can execute on, and what are the things that are going to take a little bit longer. We're managing the 2 kids here, and so there's a lot to plan around, and figure out. But having a plan will make you feel not so scatterbrained. And also, when you write something down, you can let it go out of your brain, because it's somewhere safe. It's written down somewhere, and you don't have to be like worrying about it. I mean, if I don't write things down, then I'll forget, and then it will come back up again. And then I'm like, oh yeah, that thing. And then I forget again. So I'm like, I have to write stuff down so I remember, like, what is my plan?
Well, and I know that there's been a lot of times when we'll be collaborating together, and we'll say something really cool, and they'll go, we didn't write it down. Now we don't have it. And we're racking our brains. I know, please, I hope that idea comes back. So
yes.
The first P being
super important.
Planning is very important. And our second P is permission. And permission can mean a lot of things. And I think one of the things that comes to my mind is permission to change your mind, permission to ask for help are a few things that come to my mind, because I just think permission is important, asking for even permission to be in someone's space. Hey, to have maybe even that deep conversation, when you're making a plan of whether your relationship's going to go forward or not, right? So planning can be so different from just
Well,
attack.
and it's permission to fail, and it's permission to change your plan. Like you're doing something and that's not working, or something comes up and changes, and so it's permission to be flexible with whatever your plan is. And just, yeah, like you said, giving yourself just permission to let it flow. Like whatever is going to happen it's going to be okay. And allowing for just the idea to unravel and unfold, and then being flexible with it, I think is super important.
And then with this P, do you have anything, Eva, by chance that you gave your before, how you were so nervous to release the book, the Flow Life Funnel book? Where did you have, give everybody a little perspective, because you have this personally have had to do this. What is one thing that you gave yourself permission for? Because I know you were really scared.
I think the biggest thing for me was just permission for it to just be in the world with no expectations of what it had to look like. So it didn't have to be number one in anything. It didn't have to sell so many copies. It was just permission to just let it live in the world and have it exist and outside of me, and however people are going to view it, that's okay. And if people don't view it, that's okay. So just giving myself and the book permission to just exist and have its own life and its own journey was something that I had to let go of, because once you put it out, like who knows what's going to happen. But when you hold on to your idea, when you hold on to that thing, you keep it safe and you don't give it permission to grow. You don't give it permission to be alive and have a life of its own, whatever that's going to look like. So that's, I guess, when related to the book, one of the P's for me is just permission to just let it be.
And then how did you feel once you gave that permission? I think people will give themselves permission if they know something positive. What was the positive out of giving yourself that permission? How did things change for you?
Well, really, it's just freedom. I think at the end of the day, you just have freedom for, like, you're not attached to it. You're not worried about it. You're not, it doesn't define you. You're just like, it really is just freedom to just be. And there's something so relieving about that, and freeing and hopeful and loving. And so when you can do that, when you can just let go, once your idea is ready, once you've planned and you have put the work in and it's ready to just live, just letting it, like, let it. It's like a child off to college. You just you have it's out of your control now. You hope you did everything you could do. You planned and you executed on that plan, and now you're giving yourself permission to just let it be. And there is something scary in that, and also super freeing and relieving.
Well, and then that comes to our next P, and that's perspective, because you have to leave room for people to have a different perspective of how they want to even perceive it, right? That's another P. Perspective, and how someone could, and I'm taking the book as an example only because I think it applies here so much of that kind of planning and purpose and permission, all of it really fits in there. So the perspective, what comes up for you when we say perspective?
I really think about, like, this is a great example. It's not really necessarily tied to the book, but I've used this example when I talk to people about perspective. And I think about, like, when you walk into your home, for example, and my home is a very busy home and it's very loud and there's messes everywhere. And I can walk into my home with the perspective that my house is a disaster and very loud and chaotic and whatever, piles and dishes and all of that stuff, and the perspective then affects my attitude. If I'm looking and noticing and putting my awareness on all of those things, the things that maybe aren't perfect. So I could look at, like, my book, for example, like when I was going back and reading through some things, I'm like, there's a comma that needs to be there. Oh, I should have used this word instead, or I could have done this, like, I can see things that could be better and that I wish I would have done, or whatever, but I can't change those things because, like I said, I gave myself permission to just let it be, so I can't change it. But having the perspective now that there is good, like who cares if the comma's not there? Someone's life has profoundly changed because they've read it, and now they're pursuing their idea, they're pursuing their dream because it's given them the aha moment or the confidence or the what they already knew they could do or wanted to do, and now they have the fire within them, like it's validating, for them. And so the perspective that I could look at is, oh, I could have, should have done this or this, or I can look and say, I freaking have a book that's in the world that is making a difference, and even just one person's life, but several people have read it and have gotten back to me and said really positive things. And so it's all about the lens that you wear when you look at what it is that you're putting into the world, that idea, and looking at it from a positive and a place of gratitude will always give it more love. It's like watering it, like, are you going to deprive it of water with a negative perspective, or are you going to water it with love and encouragement and just keep finding the good and finding the value in whatever the experiences that you're creating or the idea that you're putting into the world? So for me, I would say that.
The perspective of, I keep going, my mind is going back to your family and, all of your kids everywhere and homework and, dishes in the sink and all of that. And your perspective is, it can be overwhelming, but I do think that if you plan out, how you want your household to run, it can be a little bit easier. Permission to not be perfect. So if dishes are in the sink, it's okay. And then the perspective is that you have a really harmonious, loving, interactive family that is so positive that when you plan right and you give yourself permission to not be perfect, you can be happy even when things are chaotic.
Exactly.
Because that's just where we are in life right now, with doing school at home and this one being on a computer and being able to stop and leave. Your kids are with their dad. So you can, instead of you sitting home reading a book, you decide to plan to go and see your sister and be a part of her life and her journey. And you know what I'm saying? And gave yourself permission to leave your household for a bit. So I do think that these 3 Ps are really cool P's.
Yeah, they can go with so many things, like you said, like from the idea of the book or some career thing that you want to pursue, or even just how you look at your house and how you plan and organize and execute on your home. And at the end of the day, it's just about gratitude and being grateful for what it is you do have. We always come back to that, don't we? That G word.
I know. Well, and that makes me I don't even know. I don't know if she would want me to say this or not, but I'll just say a family member got COVID, and they were just so upset. They were sitting in a room, they were bored and whatever. And I just said, I know you probably don't want to hear this, but do you know right now you could be, on a breathing machine? And people are dying from this. And if you just be grateful that you just can't taste and smell right now, and you're feeling okay, like you could go, what a blessing. And so really, I know that that's hard to do. And she's like, wow, I didn't look at it like that. And perspective is to look at the whole picture. This is only a couple weeks of your life. But anyway, they had a great attitude towards my, because sometimes when somebody says something positive, you just want to slug them and go, what? That's not helpful. I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Say that again.
I said you want to be in your pity party. It's not helpful, though.
Exactly. Well, this has been a great morning. I know you have lots to do. So I do want to thank you for taking time out from your sister and
keeping my pleasure.
Podcast online on, we are so committed. We love all of our viewers, and we're so thankful. I'm thankful for you, Eva. I love you so much.
I love you.
So anyway, guys, another great day. We are at settolove.com. If you'd like to email us, ask us a question, give us some show ideas. We're at settolovepodcast@gmail.com. And have a great day, guys. Don't forget, subscribe and hit the bell.
Hit the bell. Thank you, friend.
Love you.